I think that it's really important for people in this industry to be honest about how long it can take. You know, I thought that I was ready for this opportunity 8 years ago. And now I look back and I'm like, thank you, Lord, that this opportunity did not come 8 years ago, because I was most definitely not ready.
What is up, guys? Chris Rudiger. We are back on the 615 House podcast. We have a very special guest, originally from Knoxville, Tennessee, in the studio today, and she just put out an album. I'm so pumped we're going to talk about it. I also found out she's friends with Blake Shelton, and friends so much so that she's going on tour. The Back to the Honky Tonk tour that's happening. We're going to have to talk about that. Also, I guess she knows Ricky Skaggs and Vince Gill. She seems like the cool kid in Nashville that I am not. So I'm really just here to talk about how I can become friends with her. Please welcome this amazing artist, Miss Emily Ann Roberts.
Oh, thank you for having me. You made me sound a lot cooler than I am.
Well,
so
you are
thank
pretty
you
cool.
for that intro.
Oh, of course. The one part I didn't mention that I should have is that you've played the Grand Ole Opry 17 times now, too.
I have. That's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
I will say that's very cool. Yeah, that is crazy to even think about, because that's everybody's dream. Like, I mean, that's a country music dream come true.
Dream venue.
To play the Opry even once. So, yeah.
When did you first play?
I played in 2017, and it was October 13th, 2017. I'll probably never forget it.
Yeah.
And this is a really cool story. You know, I was so nervous to be there, and I tried to just soak up every minute, and it went by so fast. But I tell you, Ricky Skaggs, who you mentioned, I actually met him when I was on The Voice, and he stayed in touch with me, and he introduced me to the audience for the very first time at the Grand Ole Opry, which was like so cool to have him welcome me to the stage for the first time.
Yeah.
And so I sang my 3 songs, and then afterwards he came to my dressing room, and he had a little sheet of paper that had like bullet points about me. It was like Emily Ann Roberts, season 9 of The Voice, you know, new song, Stuck on Me and You, out now, all these different little bullet points to say to the crowd. And he came in, he congratulated me and told me he was proud of me, and he handed me that little piece of paper that he had been reading off of, and he wrote, Emily, he said, I'm so proud of you. This is just the first of many. Love, your Ricky.
That's amazing.
Is that not amazing?
Please tell me you got that like framed.
Yes, I have that, and we've made copies of that piece of paper just in case I were to lose it, because I was just blown away, because I thought like, oh my goodness, like, I had to pinch myself. This is crazy. This is my life. I just sang at the Opry, and Ricky just said, first of many, love, your Ricky. I'm like, my Ricky.
That is your Ricky. That is amazing.
So
what an
he
experience.
is precious. Yeah, it's really
but
cool.
you've gone on, I mean, you've done it now 17 times. Do you still get nervous when you play?
Yes. And I want to ask somebody who's done it. Like, I need to ask Ricky or somebody who's there all the time. I'm like, does this ever get, like, does it ever feel normal? Because I bet it never gets old, but does it ever feel normal? Like, every single time that I am there, I think like, okay, I've done this plenty of times before. I should not have butterflies in my stomach. I should not be scared to death to walk out on that stage. Like, I don't really get nervous anymore on stage, but I always get nervous at the Grand Ole Opry. It just feels...
Well, there's so much history there.
Oh my gosh, I know. And when they're introducing me every time, I'm like, me? Are they sure me? Like, it's me on the Opry? It's just wild. It's a very surreal feeling, and super
it's
cool
amazing.
thing.
And the part of it that I love too is there's this culture of like continuing to pass down the baton to the next class of artists, and Ricky's obviously a legend in his own right, and now welcoming you there. Also Blake Shelton, who you clearly have a great relationship with and are going on tour. Like, I love to see this, just the different generations of country music continue to evolve. I do want to talk about the Blake tour, the Blake situation, because I think it probably started from when you first met him, which was on The Voice, right? Or had you met him prior?
No, so I met him for the first time when I was on The Voice. That was back in 2015.
Yep.
And I had never met anybody famous before in my entire life. And I went on the show, and he turned his chair around, and I picked to be on his team. And I was so nervous to work with him because, like I said, I'd never been around anybody famous. And I thought, like, what if he acts famous.
Right.
You know, like what if he acts like Hoop-Dee-Doo and I don't know how to talk to him, you know? But I was so comfortable around him because he is so normal. Like he is just so down to earth. And he reminds me of just like my redneck uncle. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a mess and a hoot to be around. And so, we were able to meet then, and he was so supportive when I got off the show, which so many people, you know, wonder, do these coaches really like care? You know?
Yeah.
And I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for Blake. I mean, he helped me so much and has continued to support me. That was 8 years ago.
Yeah. That's amazing that you guys still stay in touch and he's still a mentor and now going on the road. It's
I know.
I just love to hear what people are genuine dudes outside of like the camera and the Hollywoodness of it, you know?
I know, because I mean, golly, that's all, you know, it makes everybody feel more comfortable when you're just normal and real. And I just love that he is that way because he don't have to be. I mean, he is so accomplished and so successful. And if he wanted to act like he was the thing, he could, but he doesn't. And that's really cool. And I was thankful that I was able to that was my first experience with a successful person in this business.
Yeah.
Because it I guess taught me like, Emily, no matter what happens, no matter where you go in this career, like, you're just a person.
Right.
You know, you're just a girl. You're just a girl from East Tennessee. And you can't lose that. And he's just a boy from Oklahoma. And that comes out in everything he does. And so, yes, I get to go on the road with him.
I know. That's so amazing. How many dates are you guys playing?
17 dates. It'll be end of February through all of March. And we're going to a bunch of places I've never been before. We're going to Canada,
What?
which is, I know.
What part of Canada?
We're going to Edmonton,
Yeah.
Calgary, and Saskatoon. Am I saying that right?
I
That's
don't.
how it's. That's exactly
I don't think
how it's
so,
spelled.
but I also don't know how it's pronounced. So
Saskatoon.
I'm looking in the studio to see if any of these the producers know any
I'm
better,
getting
and
the nod.
I'm getting some nods. So
Okay.
maybe you're right.
That's how you'd sound it out if you were trying to sound it out.
sounds right to me.
Okay, thank you.
Are you most excited for Canada, or are there other like U.S. cities too that
Oh
you're excited
gosh,
for?
no! I'm really excited for Texas. We're playing in Austin at the Moody Center, and so that's going to be really cool. And I'm excited to go to California. We're doing a bunch out there. I'm a little bummed that there's nothing close to home because a lot of my friends and family are like, okay, so which show do
Right.
we come to? But a lot of folks are going to travel. My mom and daddy are going to get to come to some of the dates. So
Family road trip.
I know,
Let's
family
go.
road trip. I cannot wait. I have been working towards something like this for so long. And, you know, when I got off The Voice, this is the crazy thing. I was just 17 years old and I thought that I was ready then. That was 8 years ago, you
Yeah.
know, and I think that it's really important for people in this industry to be honest about how long it can take to get to where you want to get to. And I mean, gosh, I've still got such a long road ahead of me, but you know, I thought that I was ready for this opportunity 8 years ago. And now I look back and I'm like, thank you, Lord, that this opportunity did not come 8 years ago because I was most definitely not ready. So,
Well, I think you're being humble. I think you might have been ready 8 years ago, but I do really appreciate you saying that because for a lot of people that listen and are maybe following you or I, you know, there's this perception of like the overnight success.
Yeah.
You show up in Nashville or LA, wherever it is, and you blow up. And maybe some people do online, but it's not always how it seems. I mean, there's years of, for you, songwriting and recording and finding your band and like also just networking and meeting people, right? You got to nurture those relationships. And I think like it really is a 10-year town, you know, it doesn't, and everyone's story is different. But I think you're in a great place and it's cool to see somebody like you who's as hardworking and as talented as you are finally, you know, be given one of many opportunities to come with Blake. I want to talk a little bit because you mentioned your family's coming on the road with you. Family's from Knoxville.
yes.
Are you a big Tennessee Volunteers fan?
Oh yeah, I'm a big Tennessee Volunteer fan.
So what's the situation with college football? You think we're gonna make the top
Are
8?
you a Tennessee Volunteers fan?
Well, so here's a fun fact for you. I did not grow up in Knoxville, but my aunt was best friends with Pat Summitt. They were neighbors.
Stop it.
So I used to go to a lot of the basketball games, and then I've now since become a somewhat of a bandwagon Tennessee football fan as well.
Pat Summitt was an angel.
A legend.
A legend. I got to honor Pat Summitt in Neyland Stadium with the pride of the Southland Band.
Yeah.
We sang Tennessee Waltz and Amazing Grace to honor her.
That is amazing.
That was one of the coolest moments of my entire life. Yes, I'm a huge Tennessee fan.
Let's go.
I'll tell you what, I was born in 98, which was the last year that we won the national championship. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Mhm.
Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
I'll let my, like, I love to watch UT football, love to watch UT basketball, but I'll tell you what, I'm not a sporty girl. Other than that, I just sit back and watch it and I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Right.
But I grew up like watching that every single Saturday. My dad is a huge UT fan, and we didn't get to go to games a lot because it was expensive. And there was one game that I got to go to as a young girl, and my daddy took me early so we could see the band come through and all the boys go into the stadium. And I just remember thinking, this is the coolest thing ever. And then being able to watch the game. We were playing Georgia, and we were up in the first half. And then my daddy said, if we win this game, they were wearing gray jerseys that day. He said, if we win this game, I'll buy you one of those gray jerseys. And I thought, like, oh my gosh. And we lost. And so I'll tell you, my whole life as a UT fan, I would rather lose as a UT fan than win as anything else. But it has been a roller coaster my whole life. And that's okay. But I do think that we're on to something great. I think
agree.
that last week's game, we pulled out a good old win against Kentucky. And I think that there are good things ahead of us. But it does keep you on your toes.
It does.
Yes.
And this is a hot topic, and I might get some flack for this, but I feel like in Nashville, there's this big Georgia movement up here right now. All these songwriters from Georgia, and let's just say their music is fantastic. I support you, John Langston, Ray Fulcher, whoever it is. And then there's a bunch of people from Alabama coming up here now, and that's great. But like, give me the Tennessee pride, you know?
You're right.
Like, let's get into the mix. It's no longer just a Georgia-Alabama situation here. Like, Tennessee's a part of this.
For real. For real.
You
For
know?
so many years, we have not been, though. But we are. We beat Alabama last year, and I hate that we lost this year, but we've always got next year. My husband is an Alabama fan, unfortunately.
Ooh, does that cause a little bit of tension in the household?
Yes, especially on the third Saturday in October.
Yeah.
I told him we were out on the road. I was actually playing a gig up in Maryland on the Saturday that we were playing. And I was like, if we lose and y'all win, we have to sleep in separate beds tonight. He was like, no. And I was like, yes. And then we lost, and we didn't sleep in separate beds. But I threatened.
A fair bet.
Yeah, because I'm like, he gets so competitive, and he grew up in East Tennessee, but he's not like an Alabama bandwagon fan. His mom and daddy were born and raised in Alabama. All their parents and grandparents are Alabama people, and they moved for work. So he was raised every Saturday watching Alabama football. That's just like all he's ever known. So I don't hold it against him, or at least I don't try to. But yeah, on that game day, there's definitely some tension in our household.
There has to be, but that makes for good competition, right?
Yeah.
Well, look, here's the deal. We got so much to talk about. We're going to be right back on the 615 House podcast, and we're going to get into more music and Emily Ann Roberts. What is up, guys? We are back. I am here with Emily Ann Roberts in the studio. You just put out an album, and we got to talk about it because this thing, top to bottom, is fantastic. It's been out for what, a couple months now? Is that in September?
Yes.
And I got to say, I love Whole Lotta Little, but just because I've seen it on my TikTok and Instagram so much, and I now know the words, and I kind of got this little dance thing that I do with it.
Oh.
But there's some other songs on this album that are fantastic that I want to talk about as well. What was the process like recording this album?
Oh my goodness. Well, it wasn't anything like I intentionally sat down and was like, okay, now I'm going to start my record. I mean, I've been in town for 8 years, and there are songs on this project that I wrote back in 2017. And then there are songs on this project that I wrote just a couple months before we cut it. So it has been a journey. And all of the songs are from different parts of my journey. But when we actually went in and started recording, I got to work with Trent Willman as my producer, and he is just precious. He is a 10 out of 10 guy, and a huge answered prayer to me in my life and in my career, because I was waiting for the right producer for so long. My music is probably more on the country side of country music. It's definitely not pop country. And when I first got to town, Kelsea Ballerini had just blown up and Marin had just blown up, and like pop country was like the thing.
That was a cool thing.
It was the cool thing. And everybody was like, hey, what you're writing is cool, but it doesn't fit with what's going on in country music right now. And that was really hard on me, because for a little bit, I tried to chase a sound that people told me would work.
I was going to say, did you feel pressured to kind of follow suit of some of these stars that were rising?
Yeah. And I think that, like, to a degree, a bunch of artists probably go through that when they see stuff that's working so well for other folks, and it might be tempting to think like, okay, maybe if I model myself a little bit after what they're doing, then maybe I'll be successful too. But the truth is I think that if you're following what someone else has already done, you're already behind.
You're kind of playing this constant chase, like this catch up, right?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, the product you're going to get, I don't think is believable if you're not just being authentic. If you're not being real to the music that you want to make, and if you don't believe in it, how are you going to get anyone else to believe in it? So that was definitely a journey, and I worked with a bunch of different producers that like tried to take who I was and also fit it into like modern pop country music. And they did a great job at what they were trying to do, but Trent was the first one to come along and say, like, I think that this is great just as it is, and I don't think that it's a disadvantage that you don't sound like everyone else. I think it's actually a huge asset and advantage.
That's refreshing to hear.
Yeah. It was incredible to hear.
Yeah.
So he just believed in me and believed in the product as it was, instead of trying to say like, I think I could spruce this up and change it and make it fit some kind of agenda. And so anyways, that was a huge just missing piece of the puzzle. And so he jumped in and we went into the studio and we cut 6 songs. And actually, Whole Lotta Little was the first song I ever wrote with Trent.
Not bad for a first write.
Not bad for a first write. Yeah. It's crazy. This feels like such a Nashville story to me. We met, and then after our first meeting, he was like, I would love to work with you. Let me know what you need. Who do you want to write with? I want to write with you. Like, let's get a date together. So the next day, he was like, I'm writing with my buddy, Jeremy Spillman, out at my house. He was like, you want to come? Mm-hmm. And I was like, sure. So the next day I go to his house. We write Whole Lotta Little. And then the next day he met with my team, and my team was basically like, all right, let's do this thing. And I mean, just in a matter of 3 days, I went from thinking like, what am I doing? How am I going to get to the other side of this? And, like, how am I going to get my music out? How am I going to record the music the way that I want to? Like, everything was up in the air. And 3 days later, now I've got a plan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Crazy.
I always ask artists this. When you left that room, because first off, Whole Lotta Little is a fantastic song. First song on the album, and it's had a tremendous amount of success. When you wrote that song, did you leave the room like, yeah, that's the one, like I got it? Or was it still a process with like recording? Like when do you know that you have your song?
Okay, well, I loved the song when I left the room because it's super bluegrassy and I believed in it a lot, but I played it for some of my band and they kind of gave me mixed feelings. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not that cool. Like, I thought it was really cool. But I'll tell you, when I knew that song was special was when we took it out on the road and started playing it live. And I saw real people like light up. And I still see that. Every single time I play this song, the whole energy in the room changes. It's just one of those songs that has so much energy, I think, that it's infectious. Like other people just start to tap their toes and have a fun time with us. And so that's been the biggest telltale sign for me and my music, is seeing how people outside of the industry connect to it, because they're the ones who are really changing our lives. Like they're the ones who are streaming the music. They're the ones who are buying the records, who are buying the tickets. And so if they're loving it, then that's a really good sign.
Well, I love that you're listening to your fans too. I think that's a big part of it. And, like you said, all aspects of the business now it's about what people want to hear. I mean, they're the ones that are going to show up when you're on the road with Blake.
Yeah.
When you were putting out this project, I think there's so many things that an artist has to do now. We're in a crazy world where there's all these social media apps and there's still radio, and then there's, photo shoots and press and all this stuff. It's a lot for an artist to handle. How have you been able to kind of manage it all?
Oh, what a question. It is a lot. It's a lot. And I'm still trying to be disciplined with my time and manage my time wisely, because you do feel pulled in all different directions. Because I truly believe the biggest form of promoting our music is us getting it out online in the form of TikToks, Reels, YouTube Shorts, all that stuff. I mean, I'll tell you, Whole Lotta Little changed everything for me, because we took a video in a cornfield. My guitar player got his iPhone out, took a video of me and my girls in my band singing Whole Lotta Little, and I posted it online, and within 24 hours it was over 2 million views, and then posted it the day it came out and it's over 7 million views.
Your phone's probably just nonstop lighting up.
Crazy. But that wasn't because of some expensive fancy marketing plan or push. You know what I'm saying?
It was natural. You were in a cornfield. You said, hey, we're going to post this. This is just a normal post, right?
It wasn't anything like fancy and that's something that is a little bit, it's incredible that we as like artists have the opportunity to get our art out there in such a simple and real way. But it's also a little bit maddening, because obviously we can't control what's going to pop off and what doesn't. And I am a planner, and I love to be able to say like, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. And all of this is going to come together to help promote this body of work. But it's an interesting time. You have to be a really stinking hard worker, and you have to do things that you might not have thought you have to do. I mean, I spend so much of my week editing videos. Okay, if you had asked me 2 years ago what I was spending most of my week doing, it wouldn't have been that. Yeah. Like, my world and my work has changed and evolved so much. And I know that social media might not be like everybody's favorite thing, but I try to tell all of my friends who are trying to get their music out there, I'm like, you just have to do it. You just have to do it. And you don't have to overthink it, but get your art and your music or whatever your product is, just get it online, and try to be creative and authentic and genuine about the way that you are promoting it. But I mean, something that I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to, like I said, just have days. I have days where I write, and I have days where I'm saying, okay, today I'm filming content. And then I have days where I'm doing more of the business end things and making sure that we're all set to go back out on the road on the weekends. And then, of course, then I'm out on the road, and that's a whole different part of my job. But it definitely requires a lot of your time and a bunch of different types of work to keep this thing moving. It's crazy.
100%. I mean, there's more things thrown at you, but I think you made a couple of really good points, which is one, being balanced and having a schedule. I think that's something that a lot of us as artists can benefit from. I think the other part that's important, as you said, still being authentic with your post. I think one of the things that's crazy is maddening is such a great word for it, because I think we're all online and we're seeing a lot of people get the success that they deserve, and then a lot of people that kind of jump a few ladders quickly. And I think that's when things get very frustrating, because you've put 8-10 years of hard work into something, and this is your moment. And I think just staying true to what your art is and yourself, and knowing that there's going to be a time for you, as hard as it might be right now with the cloudiness of social media, is still so important. And I love that this album represents that for you in your work. I want to talk about Ricky Skaggs and
Yeah.
Vince Gill on this song. What was it like working with two legends?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so yes, we have Ricky Skaggs and Vince Gill on one of the tracks on the album. It's called Still Searching, and it is wild. Every single time I hear that song or we talk about it, the fact that I have their voices on my album is crazy. Of course, I talked about Ricky earlier. I've known him since The Voice. When I was on the show, you got to, if you made it to the final four, everybody got to have a performance with one of their biggest inspirations. And so they had Ricky out and we sang together, and he stayed in touch with me and has just been a sweet friend through the years. He has been so sweet. And then Vince, I've actually never met, but I hope I get to meet him one day. I hope I get to sing this live with them one day. But but I've never met him, but my guitar player actually knows him. And he was able to reach out to him to see if he would put his voice on the song. And actually, that song, Still Searching, is the only song on the record that I didn't write. Mm-hmm. It was an outside song that was pitched to me from Jerry Salley. And I've been writing with him for years, and he played me the song, and I was just blown away by the sentiment of this song. And it's talking about a woman who is looking for the right man in her life to, you know, fall in love with and marry. And she talks about how she's still searching for someone who's searching for someone like her. And it talks about being patient, and it talks about, you know, is there anyone out there who's looking for anyone like me? And I am in a happy, wonderful marriage. But when I heard that song, I related to it so much from like my career standpoint, because that's exactly how I felt. I felt like, is there anyone out there who is looking for what I bring to the table? Mm-hmm. You know, is there anyone who believes in what I believe in, and the type of music that I want to make? And so I absolutely loved it. And on the demo that he played me, Ricky and Vince were doing the BGBs. So after I heard them on the song, I was like, well, if I cut the song, I have to get them on. Like, I can't unhear that.
Right.
I have to get them on my song too.
They teased you already.
Yes,
it's like
they did.
You can't cut them out.
You know, honestly, if they hadn't been on that demo, I don't know if I would have ever had the guts to be like, hey, let's try to get Vince and Ricky on this. But the song is, it's probably at least 15 years old. It's an older song. And so I reached out to Ricky, and he said that he would love to do it. And he sent me the sweetest text. He said, you know what would be fun? If we could all get together at the Grand Ole Opry one night and sing this live. And I was like, you know, Ricky, that would pretty much make my whole life.
Right. It sounds like I could probably move a few things around in my schedule maybe to make that work.
So that's next on the bucket list. I want to make that happen.
Maybe that will be the 18th time at the Grand Ole Opry for you. Wouldn't that be
That'd be so good
celebration?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I love the song. I think it's amazing that those guys are on it. They really do help that. You know, I mean, the song, your voice sounds great on it, but having them in the background is pretty cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope that you get to meet Vince Gill.
Me too.
And then I hope that you invite me so that I can meet Vince Gill.
Okay, deal.
Thank you. I'll take that. I love it. Well, hey, we got to play a quick game here because we got our friends at Ariat who give us some amazing product, and we do this segment called Rapid Fire Questions. Very simple. 60 seconds on the clock. I'm just going to throw you some questions. First thing that comes to mind, you spell it out.
All right.
Don't think too hard now, all right?
Okay.
We've had some people that have thought too hard and it doesn't go very well, but I feel like you're going to be good at this game.
Oh gosh, no, that's probably me, overthinker.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Let's go. What would be a dream venue for you to play at?
Is it Red Rocks?
It is Red Rocks. One. There you go. Somebody that you could collaborate with that you haven't yet.
Dolly Parton.
I like that answer. Are you a talker or a texter?
Talker.
Like that. A favorite fast food place?
Taco Bell.
Really? Somebody else said Taco Bell. We're going to get back to that. Are you baseball cap or cowgirl cap?
Baseball cap.
I like baseball caps too. I see you have boots on. What's your favorite type of boot?
I can't choose. I love them all. These are Lane, so we'll go with Lane.
There you go. And let's see. Last question right now. What's one place in the world that you could go to that you haven't been yet?
I've not been a lot of places. I want to go to Hawaii.
Really? I just got back from Hawaii. It is amazing. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I want to go so bad.
Well, next time I'll invite you.
Okay,
Hawaii is the
thanks.
spot. You should tour in Hawaii. That's what you do.
Yes.
Hey, Blake Shelton, can we get the tour over to Hawaii? That was, I believe, 60 seconds. That even might have been like 45 seconds. That was pretty fast. Matt, you got a timer in there? Matt's our producer. We got to run that back and figure out. I think that was a 45-second clip right there. So you actually might be the fastest.
Oh, I love that.
That
means I'm the winner, right?
It does.
Okay, good.
I'm now thinking about this on the spot, but I think we're going to create a leaderboard of all the guests on the podcast, and then right now you'd be at the top.
Oh, good.
So
that makes me happy.
Don't get too complacent. We have some other episodes, but you're looking pretty good right now. Well, hey, it's been awesome having you in here. I'm so excited about this record for you. I'm excited about the tour.
Oh, thank you.
Anything else that is upcoming that we can look forward to?
Oh gosh. Well, we're about to shoot some new music videos for some of the songs off the new album, which I'm really thrilled about. So there's some cool stuff coming out. And then, of course, the tour. If anybody listening is located in some of these places, we're hitting a lot of them. We're going to be all over the place. So check out my website because I'd love to see y'all out on the road because it's going to be so good. And then another cool thing that people can follow along with me is I have a homepage that I have with my husband called Sasser House.
Yeah, you have a YouTube channel,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes. So we have a YouTube channel and then we have an Instagram and a TikTok. It's called Sasser House. And my husband refinishes furniture and builds furniture and does a lot of DIY stuff.
Yeah.
And then I love all things homemaking. I love to make decor and I crochet and I do all kinds of stuff for our home. And then I love to cook and I love to make a house a home. And so we just bought our first house a year ago and we have documented all of the things we're doing to fix it up.
Yeah.
And just kind of our lives. And so that's been a really fun thing for people to follow. And it's been fun for us to document because we're able to connect with other folks and get ideas and stuff like that. So that's called Sasser House.
That's amazing. So Sasser House, and you can find that off of your website, and is it linked to your socials as well?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. I want to check that out.
Yeah,
That's really
check it
cool.
out. It's
Congratulations on purchasing your first house.
Oh, thank you.
Where is your house?
We are outside of Nashville, more towards Knoxville, where I'm from, just down 40.
There you go.
And so we love being outside of town.
It's probably a little bit private
It is.
and comforting. You don't have
Yes.
to deal with all the Broadway and
Yeah.
Midtown traffic that exists and the
It's
pressure
really
is there.
quiet. You can hear the birds sing. So
There you go. I'm
makes us
quite
happy.
jealous. As somebody that lives a stone's throw from Broadway, I can hear, the 187th rendition of Wagon Wheel every night before bed. I envy that. So that's amazing. And are you partnered with Southern Made Tees? Is that?
I did. So I did something with them last year, actually. We did a whole t-shirt line, but that's another fun thing to talk about. I work with them a lot on designing my merch, and I have so much cute merch, if I do say so myself. It doesn't look like merch. It's cute.
It's
all right?
it's a apparel
It's
line.
apparel. It's
Yeah.
apparel. And all of that is on my online store. We have so much cute stuff. We've got bandanas with chickens on them, which you might not think sounds cute, but it is.
I'm now thinking that might be a Christmas gift.
Yes, it's incredible.
I like that.
And we're about to have vinyl for Can't Hide Country that'll be available on my online store, and then all kinds of hats, t-shirts, stickers, and stuff like that. So
I love that. See, the cool part is, it's not just the music, but it's also, I love that you have a channel with your husband for some of the stuff you're working on, and as well as a real apparel line. I think it's cool. And I hope that you continue to crush it with your music, but I also hope that you build up an amazing apparel brand. And I think
thank you.
You're an entrepreneur,
Oh gosh, I've turned into one for sure. You
certainly
got to figure out how to
right?
make money. So
I think we all have here in Nashville as artists. But thanks for taking the time out of your day coming here. Emily Ann
thank you.
Roberts, it's been so fun. I love these conversations because I just get to know more about everyone's backstory and what they've been up to. And I can't wait to catch a show of yours. I recommend all of you go hear Emily live because she is fantastic with her band. And you got to stream the record, right? We got to get those numbers up.
Yeah, absolutely. Check it out.
Heck yeah. Well, thanks, guys. And we'll be back next week.